Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Pro Wrestling Inside Out. I am Brett West, along with Jack Lord and Rodney West, and we will be calling all the action on this program. And there's a lot of things going on, a lot of things concerning Tony Khan, All Elite Wrestling, the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, some person who is their is their attorney. I think it's maybe a lady. I'm not for sure. I think her name is Mega or something like that. Just so many crazy things. AEW and the news is going down while the WWE is going up. Imagine that happening in the world of professional wrestling. Jack, I know you've got some notes right there. We'll start with you and we'll see exactly what's going on in pro wrestling today.
Well, let's start off giving the ratings for last week. Rampage done a low of 393,000. This was after Tony Khan made this big deal out of he was going to start beefing that show up to up those numbers. And so now I'll skip Dynamite. I'll save it for last. Raw was down to a 1.7. But they also faced the first Monday Night Football. I believe the Emmy Awards, maybe. There was some kind of big award show on. It still did 1.7. So, that was pretty good, although it was down. SmackDown did a 2.2. NXT done another high number for this year of 684,000. That's Tony Khan. If you're counting, that's almost twice of Rampage's. And Dynamite did 1.035 million.
Well, there you go.
To start the show, but by the end of the show, they had lost 148,000 people. And I was not surprised at that over million mark because there was so much in the media about what went on. And I know a lot of people tuned in to find out what was going to be said about the whole situation with CM Punk and the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega and, people getting bit and all that kind of stuff. And of course, that's, so the ratings were huge right at the first of the show when Tony Khan came out and said absolutely nothing. Just that he had stripped everybody of their championships, which still leaves 48 people with titles there if anybody's counting. But the brand new World Heavyweight Champion just crowned the Saturday before or Sunday before, and the new Trios Championship titles all vacant after only a few days of being champions. So.
Let me ask y'all this. Daniel Lang, thank you so much for the stars. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Hold on just a second. There seems to be an issue with the Facebook tonight. There's several says Mickey Mayfield has said that apparently we're not on Facebook. But however, I see Wendy Harkins on Facebook. I see Danny Hester on Facebook, but I'm not quite sure what's going on there.
Yeah, I am watching it on Facebook right now. That's what I'm watching it on. So maybe it is on now. Maybe it'll be on, and because maybe not everybody's getting it. So never know with Facebook. Because hey, this was supposed to be the week that we started the subscriber only stuff. Well, we can't do it because every time we do it, Facebook changes their stuff. We are still looking in on it. We're still looking in on some stuff to be able to do it, but we're not going to be able to Facebook. We found out we really can't do it on the YouTube because what happens is you can't integrate Restream or live stream or any of those streaming networks. They will not integrate with it, so all of us can be on there at one time. They only want one of us on there at a time, and then even if we go one at a time, the people can't get on for some reason. And we've tried it every way, and it just has not worked.
We have even considered becoming part of the mafia to try to.
Wendy was saying that she was slight problems getting on, but she didn't get a notification from Facebook tonight.
I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
I would not be surprised. I don't know what
all the improvements they're making.
Yes. Making some great improvement. Let's talk about what happened with Whoa, there's a bug just went up my nose. This
All right.
Let's see, CM Punk. Let's talk about CM Punk. Let's talk about Kenny Omega. The Young Bucks all got suspended. They all got suspended. I'm not for sure that CM Punk should have got suspended. I don't see what he got suspended for. He said something on an interview that they have allowed MJF, or is that his name? Yeah, MJF.
Yeah, FJB, yes.
That they've allowed him to do on interviews, or promos, or whatever they want to call it today. What did he get in trouble for when they were letting everyone that's on that program shoot? And even the week before, they let the guy, that Ace guy, that I guess he also got suspended. They even let him do it on television. Why would you want to why should CM Punk get in trouble for something that he's allowing all the other people to do on a media scrum that nobody's watching to begin with? I mean, honestly, am I wrong here, Rodney?
Anything that deviates from what Mr. Khan has laid out, yes. You have to do what the boss says on the program. He did not do what he said, so he's suspended. I agree with Mr. Khan on that. Does the Young Bucks and Omega have any right to go confront him? Absolutely not, because they don't pay the checks. They don't sign the checks. So all of them should have been got rid of. You're exactly right.
But here's the problem with Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks. They believe that company is theirs. They will say that it was on their backs that made that company. No, it's on Tony Khan's daddy's money. That's
exactly right. And now, and Tony's the problem. He empowered these morons, and you shouldn't have been part of these morons in the first place. You don't let the apes run the zoo here, and that's what's going on here. Go ahead, Jack. You're chomping to get in
I
here.
just want to say that Cody Rhodes is obviously the smartest man in the
True. Never a truer word been spoken.
I don't know that we'll ever get the story from there, but there has to be a reason why a guy that can basically write his own checks there, who actually was seriously in a leadership position, why he would leave there. You know, he's never said, which I think is commendable on his part.
This is what I believe that should happen. Our father, Ronnie West, was always brought in as a troubleshooting referee a lot of the places he went. I've got the official National Wrestling Alliance patch, so they could just bring me in as the official troubleshooting referee for all the. Let me just get in there and referee all these matches this is okay. Here's the problem I have with the problem I have with that. And I've said this. If Tony Khan had a problem with what CM Punk was saying, he was sitting right next to him. So why didn't he say? But why would he get in? Here's the thing. If you go back to when CM Punk won the World Heavyweight title, the AEW World title, go back and see what Tony Khan did and said in the media scrum about WWE. And also, not only about WWE, but about the people who say CM Punk wasn't drawing them any money. He used the F word and used all these adjectives. So I guess, Dad always said that crap run downhill. All right, that's just what he said. So if you got crap from the top, it's going to run down to the rest of the people. They only act the way Tony Khan acts and the way he says. Have you seen the thing that he said where he said that he had more money than Jim Crockett Promotions? He had more money than, and he will fight WWE with his money. But money doesn't do it. Ted Turner had money too. But you can't fight a company like the WWE. It has nothing to do with money. They've been around for how many years? How many years has WWE been around? 70 years?
They're closing in on it. I mean, their grandfather, Vince's grandfather, Jess, started in the 20s.
Yeah. So you're not going to beat them. So why even try? And I don't know why he thought that Labor Day was his week. He must have had it. He must be Tony Khan must have said, "Hey, listen, that's my day. Nobody else can run."
Well, I'm sure had Tony, actually asked them nicely.
The thing about Mr. Khan, and he should never try to put himself in the same class as Jim Crockett.
No.
This man's an idiot. Jim Crockett produced stars. Mr. Khan simply can't. Show me where has he created a star? He hasn't. Jim Crockett Promotions most certainly did, and probably one of the biggest ones ever was who? He's not on my list, but he's on everybody else's.
Ric Flair,
Ricky Steamboat, Greg Valentine, John Studd, Sergeant Slaughter. The names go on and on. Name one, Mr. Khan. You can't. So you can't put yourself in the same class as Jimmy Crockett. And as far as Ted Turner goes, and saying what you would wish you would be in the position of Ted Turner right now when he bought it. You wished you were in the position, because still at that time they were still able to create stars. He simply can't.
Don't you believe that the reason that CM Punk got the reaction that he had because the Young Bucks and Kenny Omega wished they could draw the numbers and draw the merchandise that CM Punk did. If he can be attacked by those EVPs, can anyone get a chance there as long as Kenny Omega and the Young Bucks are there? Or is anyone that gets over going to be considered a troublemaker in their eyes? Jack?
And this is not a new thing. When you put people in positions of authority that are on the cards, they're going to always push themselves the most. Unfortunately, these guys, they're just not getting that reaction. Those the crowd pops for some of the stuff they do, but the ratings don't lie. I mean, Kenny Omega, when he made his big, huge return, 200,000 people changed the channel. Now, that's not a made up number. That's reality. I don't know. The whole thing, as far as the fight, it just, fights in the dressing room are nothing new.
No.
Now, they didn't happen as often as people think they did. But Paul Bosch was the one who had a great policy. If two guys had legitimate heat between each other, he put them in the dressing room and he put two chairs in there. And he said, okay, guys, you're either going to sit down and work this out or you're going to fight. And whoever loses gets fired. Y'all work it out. And he'd walk out of the room. Now, 99% of the time, they sat down and worked it out.
Yeah.
But fighting in the dressing room ain't nothing new. Fighting 3-on-1, that's new.
Yeah.
That didn't happen. That didn't happen in our time. It's just, and especially from an executive position.
Yeah.
That's the thing that gets me. I wouldn't mind if they got into it and those guys were just wrestlers on the card, but they weren't. They were executives. And that destroys your whole hierarchy of that business there. If he brings them back and he doesn't strip them of those executive titles, I think he's doing a great disservice. I think fans are going to turn on him. I think fans are going to turn on the three of them anyway. And Punk is almost a non-issue because he tore a tricep. He's going to be gone for 8 months regardless. So he can't fire him till he heals up. So if
Yeah.
he's going to fire him, he's still going to have to wait till he's medically cleared before he can leave. And the smartest thing he could do, if he doesn't want Punk to come back, is just pay out his contract.
Do you think though that the problem with Tony Khan comes from the fact that he said you come work for AEW, you have the I guess you can be who you want to be, you can say what you want to say. He was down in the WWE. He was saying, "Oh, boy, they make you do whatever they tell you to do. We're going to let you go have the freedom to do what you want to do." And now that they go and do what they want to do, he doesn't like it. So you can't have it both ways. So now he is as bad, if not maybe not even worse, because he said you could do that, and then he does it. CM Punk does it, and gets fired, basically suspended for something that he himself said it was all right for you to do, and that was the climate that he developed. As far as his climate, wrestlers never. People, listen to me. Tommy Rich Wrestling 2, they did not do what they wanted to do. Now, you had the bail, and you could put together, you didn't even put it together. You just went in there and wrestled. You knew what your finish was. But if you did something within that match, and Ole Anderson or Ronnie West or Robert Fuller or any booker watched you, they would say, "Do not do that again in your match.
Yep.
Don't do that again because you did that. Well, I was going to do that next week, and you did it in your match. Don't ever do that again unless you come to me and ask me if it's all right to do that." They did not. Wrestlers did not. Listen to what I'm saying. They did not do what they wanted to do because they would be fired if they went in business for themselves. They did not do that. They did what they were told to do when they were told to do it. If they didn't do it, they were gone. And if you didn't want to do a job, they said, "Okay, fine. Don't do the job. Here you go. You're going to go into work against him. And if he beats you, he beats you." That's all there is to it. And you know what? Most of the time you go, "No, I think I'll just go ahead and do what you want me to do." Because they knew the guy was going to be bad. Big Red didn't do what he was asked to do. He was fired for it. They brought him back. Scott Irwin, beat him.
Yeah, and we were there, and it was a totally different sound of the audience. The crowd was a totally different. It was kind of a hush moan. Because all you could hear is smack, smack, smack of Big Red's face hitting his fist like that. It was.
I will tell you this though, Big Red kept on getting up.
He did.
I have to give him. He wasn't carried out like this dude was carried out right here with Ronnie West. Right.
We can't see that. Hold on, let me zoom in there, cameraman.
Let me zoom in, cameraman.
Let me zoom in there, cameraman.
I want to show this picture. This is 1965, I believe it was. Is not going to let you zoom me in there?
I'll zoom in. I had to find it and zoom it in a while.
See Ronnie West right there. I think it's 1965. I believe that could be Lynn Rossi being carried out of the ring. I'm not for sure.
I believe it is.
And I'm not for sure who would be in the ring. I'm not for sure who that is.
See, if you'll notice that there's no ring aprons on those rings, so it was very hard to hide tables, ladders, chairs, any other kind of paraphernalia under the ring. Sledgehammers, yeah.
I believe this was at the Memorial Auditorium in Chattanooga, Tennessee. And I believe it is 1965. But you see, they didn't even have turnbuckles at the time.
It was mostly. You're right, and not lots of times it was just tape.
Yeah, and that was very small tape, if you'll notice, and it, maybe there is a first rope. I'm not for sure. I can't see it there, but I guess they are first rope. But this was it was May of 1965. Dad was just a little. This was before any of his booking in office days. So he always enjoyed professional wrestling, and this was one of his patches that I've got a couple of these, and this was one he never used back in the day, the National Wrestling Alliance. I bet you this could go for a lot of money on the internet. Hey, never know. One day we may have to do that to keep everything going. Pro wrestling inside and out, buy new cameras and stuff. But let's talk a little bit too about WWE and how
Well,
well
just real quick, I just wanted to say, Tony was, again, he was brainstorming, and how he's been right about everything. He says that now that they've been changed, that WWE has changed directions, and now creative is different. They'll be more similar to AEW. What did he mean by that? They would, what? Nobody's going to watch the show, or what? I don't know what that means. This man, if he doesn't have a therapist, psychiatrist, or any kind of counseling, he might need to get some.
he doesn't understand the wrestling business. And the best thing that ever could happen to him is he take care of the day-to-day business, hire him somebody that takes care of the wrestling portions of it, and he needs to get off of television. He needs to get off of social media. And if he really and truly is running a pro wrestling company, disappear. Just like and Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks don't need to come back. If I was going to bring somebody back, I would bring CM Punk back, because what does he do that they don't do? He sells merchandise, he brings in people, and he gets the ratings. That's what it's about. As long as you can make money with somebody, you can overlook. And if you don't want somebody saying the stuff that he said, then don't do it yourself. That is the crap runs downhill, Tony Khan, and your crap just went down to everybody else, and they're paying for that. So you don't say that kind of stuff. Act like a professional, be a professional, and then the people underneath you will be. And I think I think we all agree with that. If you're a professional, you act like a professional, the rest of the people will. If you act like this guy that cusses and moans and groans all the time about something, and he does, it's ridiculous.
Okay, go ahead.
What's going on?
I don't know. We'll get to it a little bit later on in the broadcast.
Well, let's go ahead and get to it now.
The comments are just
because I've got some other stuff.
Outstanding tonight, I'm telling you.
All right, let's get to it right now. Let's see what everybody's got to say. Jason Mundy is with us. How you doing, Jason? Richard Hood is with us as well. Glenn Shelton, Mickey Mayfield. I think we are on Facebook, because I am watching on Facebook. That's how I have to go and see if you send stars. If you send us stars, it doesn't come over our actual streaming service. I have to go over here to and I'm watching on Facebook right now.
Yeah, I just pulled it up too.
Apparently, Facebook has kicked on because we've had a lot more people come on.
All right. Yeah, it's probably it does never notify people. I don't know. Hello, Richard Hood and everyone. Donnie Hester. Mako saying, what's cause and all this? I've been asking every week, yet nobody can tell me.
Well, it ain't Tony Khan.
You know what I think it is? If the American Dream doth rule, World Heavyweight Champion, NWA World Champion, I'm gonna tell you what, I'm the best champion that's all been ever. Sound like more like Troy Graham, wasn't it? We're not like Dusty Rhodes. Let's see. Wendy Harkins is with us. Guess Facebook is broken. I do know they're losing some money, so maybe that's the problem. Mako said, Punk seems to be a punk. I don't know. I think he, you know what I found? What I got mad about the winning thing, there's a poor little dog in there that had to deal with all that crap going on there.
Well, I'm going to tell you what. The only reason I'm not upset at Punk is because they knew what they were getting when they hired him. They knew how volatile he was. They knew how hot-tempered he was. They knew that he was going to say whatever crossed his mind, and he didn't care who he upset.
Yeah. So. Yeah. I mean, you knew it. All right. Let's see. Glenn Shelton, Dino, a different show, Let's Diving Friday. Is he talking about
Dynamite? Yeah, Dynamite, an explosive show.
Well, Rampage is the Friday show.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. I have no idea what he was talking about.
Yeah, a slight problem getting on. I didn't get notification on Facebook. I'll have to check up on that. They changed things. Oh man, Facebook changes things. Richard Hood, what's up?
Oh.
Let's see. Hey, there is. You know what? If someone would have been, I'm gonna be honest with you. I can't believe somebody didn't get bit. Not by a dog. I'm not talking about by a dog. I know somebody got bit and all that on that situation. You know, what in the world are people thinking about biting people for?
Somebody bit Kenny.
I think it might have been the dog. I think it was the dog. And also, I believe that Ace's wife was in there, and I believe his wife was on crutches.
Yeah.
And also, Mickey Mayfield. There it is. Let's see. Mako, Facebook is spying on everyone. I've been told.
They don't have to spy. We're all ignorant enough to put all our stuff on there.
No notification came up. Maybe they will see that. I see we have Cardinal fans in the chat. So what Mako said. Mickey Mayfield. Brent buzzed again. Let's see. Glenn Shelton. Yes. Let's see. Charles. Charles said Tony, killer of the ratings con. You know, it's so sad. He is really so sad because he really believes he knows what he's doing. That's what makes it. You can never learn if you think you know it all, and that's Tony Khan. Exposed fan myself. At least I was. Still feel the heartache. Let's see.
I haven't watched baseball since the mid '90s, so I can't tell you.
Yeah, I don't have time to watch a lot of. Why hasn't there ever been a masked ref?
It's a very good question. That would have been nice. We should have done that. That would have been. Oh, there's so many ideas.
I saw it on the Indies.
Oh well. Did they not have one in Mexico? A masked referee?
Probably. I mean, if you've got the Invisible Man, I'm sure they've had a masked referee.
Oh, I could think of so many great things to do with that.
Glenn Shelton should have had WS from '94. Mako should have had a dynasty in the '80s and '90s. Hey, the dynasty, Jim Cornette's dynasty from 1983.
Yes.
It was Jim Cornette's dynasty. Evening, guys. Hope you all are blessed. From Christopher Hughes. Mickey Mayfield, shouldn't Tony be Junior and his dad be Mr. Khan? I'm telling you, this kid, he's a kid, and he acts like a kid. And that's what's so bad. He doesn't act like somebody that should be running a company. Strike, Mako killed it, whatever that means from Glenn Shelton. Stop, you're going to make me cry. Tony, let's see. Tony needs to worry about his house, not any other house. From Glenn Shelton.
That's been the problem since day one.
And you had your big return of MJF, and the first thing he does on the regular program last Wednesday is he starts putting over how much a better show WWE is and how he's going to go there when his contract is up.
And you just fired a person for saying what he wanted to say on not fired, but
I'm sure Tony Khan was behind that. He thinks this is a great idea, and all it's doing is making here's your guy that they're fixing to. If they don't, I'm going to be very surprised. I really believe they're fixing to make him their world champion, and yet he's talking about how this other promotion is better than where I'm at right now.
And that doesn't work. They have no business being EVPs for Mako. For the love of God's flat earth. Yes, I would agree with you on that one. Let's see, Glenn Shelton. Find them over 100,000 grand. Strike 2, strike 3. Your contract null and void.
I don't know if he's going to fine them, but they have been indefinitely suspended because all their upcoming stuff, they've removed all three of them from all the advertising.
I mean, what did the Young Bucks? They really think they could do something to CM Punk?
Dave Meltzer says And he stood by this statement, even though the Young Bucks have come out and said it's not true, that they have sent feelers to WWE about possibly coming up there in 2024. And now Hunter had talked to them before the AEW started up, and of course, we know where that went. And Omega supposedly had sent feelers out himself before he came back from his injuries. So,
well, let me ask you this, and we'll get back to the.
I don't doubt it at all. I don't doubt it at all. But WWE is trying to tamper. They're tampering with their talent. No, they're not tampering with your talent. They're all trying to get out of there.
Don't you think that most everybody working for the company knows it's not going to survive?
Not at the rate it's going.
I mean, there's no way it can survive. And I don't believe when it comes up time to renew, I don't know that they're going to be renewed anyway. So I think it's a lowbrow television. It's just lowbrow. It's bad television at its best.
Access TV.
Yeah, and it's not. I don't think it's good enough. And they know they have the money, but I don't think it's going to be about money. It's going to be about whether or not ratings. I mean, if they can pay for it, if they just want to pay them for it, they'll probably stay on there. But
Impact Wrestling's still hanging in there on Access. They had 60,000 viewers last week.
Mm-hmm. If the rumors are true and Tony is using and abusing, then anything he does won't save. What's that word?
Inevitable.
Yeah, thank you so much. I couldn't even read it. Hope not. Yeah. Something just doesn't seem right about Tony for whatever reason. I don't know. There used to be a guy named Carter Berkeley, and they bought Continental Championship Wrestling for Ron Fuller. They were basically a scam artist type people, and they really tried to steal the territory. But it kind of reminds me of this guy. Carter Berkeley had no clue what he was doing. Thought he was smarter than everybody else, and he found out that he wasn't as smart as he thought he was, and it caught up to him. Dennis Mitchell, Tony Khan, in my opinion, needs to get life and haircut. Where is Fred Ward when you need him? And Ole Anderson. They wouldn't like Ole. They wouldn't like any of the older guys because they were going to tell them exactly what the truth is. Rampage was different from Friday last. He said no diving because of Ring of Honor. Is that they had some Ring of Honor stuff on there?
Must have.
Christopher Hughes said Tony Khan, in my opinion, is an idiot.
How many times did I send that to you in a text this week?
Let's see. Who are you? The Iron Sheik has zoom in, coming in. Zoom in. Yeah. Donnie Hester said Tony Khan looks like a high school sophomore. I don't mind if he looks like one, but he's acting like one. Hard to hide someone under the ring too. For Wendy Harkins. Yeah, you couldn't have done that back in those days. Well, they wouldn't have done that back then anyway. Look at that ring. That is really cool. Really cool. It's the old days of pro wrestling, 1965. Chattanooga, Tennessee. Sean Smith, Tommy Rich can't hide under that ring. Without an apron, yes. Back then they worried about the quality of the wrestling matches, not the quality of what the ring looked like. Got then to Glenn Shelton, Dennis Mitchell. Tony Khan is giving Dixie Carter a run for her money.
Well, and if there is a lesson, Daddy gets tired of forking over money, and you're out. And that's what happened to Dixie.
Yeah, and it's going to happen. It'll happen to him. Had badges made up for the NWA staff. Tony Khan is delusional. From Richard Hood. I think he's right. I believe he is delusional. Christopher Hughes, I've already told Jack this, and I will say this to you guys. You are so lucky I'm not living next to you.
Come on over. We'll be happy to have you.
If you could ever find me at home, it'll be about during this program. Other than that, I'm never at home. Could we get Arn Anderson on for an interview? If he will come on, we would be more than glad to come on.
Arn has his own podcast, and he is very limited because of the legalities of that from doing interviews with anybody else.
I was not able to download a photograph, but somebody sent me a photograph of Scott Casey and Ivan Putski. And I have got in touch with them, and sometime in October we're going to get Scott Casey on here.
Yeah, I have talked to Scott. That's good. I'm glad.
He says he doesn't get a good reception where he's at his home. So when he's at another location, he said he could come on and do it. I'd like to talk to Scott because he goes way back. A lot of people probably don't know that he went back to the early 70s.
He has a book out also that he wants to talk
about. So we'll talk to him about. We want to talk to him about that and see what is going on in his life right now, and actually talk about the wrestling business. That I had an actual photograph that we put on Facebook. Ric Flair on one side, and Scott Casey on the other, and good stuff. Let's see. Gary Grantham, hello to you. Let's see. Christopher Hughes, I've never ever worked a show anywhere. Anytime where a full brawl broke out. That shows how much control he has over his organization. I had been in I was in Morristown, Tennessee. And it wasn't 3 or 4 people, it wasn't 5 people, it wasn't 6 people, but it was 2. Morristown, Tennessee. We were there, Wendell Cooley, Bob Armstrong, Scott Armstrong, Johnny Rich, Davey Rich, Todd Morton. Morristown, Tennessee. Wendell Cooley brings a guy over and brings him into the dressing room. So Scott Armstrong says, "What are you doing?" So you don't need to bring nobody. He said, "You mind your own effing business." He said, "Well, hey, so and so with the what had happened was one of the guys that would go outside the back of the dressing room and then he'd walk over to the other side and so they could talk. Well, just so happened the guy was over there. He said, "You brought him back here and he just seen all that." He said, "Well, it don't matter. Everybody knows it's fake anyway." And that's exactly what Wendell Cooley said. Well, I had walked in and I was talking to Scott about something. And I don't remember what I was talking to him about. But all at once, Bob jumps up, takes Wendell Cooley's head and rams it up against the little and they were just like little, they wasn't things you could open up or nothing, but they were little
cubbies.
Little
cubbies.
And he rams his head and his head goes inside one of them.
Yes.
All the way to the wall. And I mean, he has Wendell. I mean, he has him just ramming his head against that wall. So, and this is what I'm seeing this. And I said, what's, because I didn't know what it was about. I had no clue what it was about, but I did witness that problem. And, Bob didn't like Wendell Cooley after that ever again. And Wendell said these words. He said, I would have whipped him. And I looked over at Wendell. I said, "Wendell, there might be a lot of people you could whip, but I don't believe it could be Bob."
And you know what was really most amazing about your story?
What?
That with this biggest head that Wendell had, it could fit in one of those cubbies. It's true. It's amazing.
Oh, man. I have been where there was fights. Now, I have been where there were fights. So, but it was never 3-on-1 or nothing. It was never done that way. Because Scott didn't get into it and start pounding him. He got his dad off of him. He's like, "Whoa, well, I didn't know that was coming."
The Dandy Jack thing. We wasn't a part of that, but we heard about it.
Yes, we did. Now that was a couple of 3 guys on and our father had a part in that.
Well, I have a great story to tell one of these days about Scott and Bob Armstrong fighting a couple of guys in the dressing room, and I even got elbowed by Bob, and all I was trying to do was get them kind of separated
up. Donnie Esther, money doesn't make organizations successful. Great management does. Proof, Jackson. The only thing that the Cons have been successful at really has been the company where they made the car parts. I think for Ford or whoever it is they make it for. That's been their success. And you would think they would stay at the stuff. If you look at the WWE, the only success that Vince McMahon has is professional wrestling. Anything else he's done has not been successful. There should be some point that you stay where you're successful and not try to venture out on something that you're not going to be successful at. Wrestling is a hard business to begin with. Entertainment business in general is hard. Donovan Harkins. Hey, guys. Hello. How are you doing? Charles Alfred Wisman. Hello, gents. Just getting home from football practice, high school. Now, I'm not.
It's amazing that Charles has taken this long and still in high school. I mean, when is it? Did you graduate from kindergarten? That's what I want to know.
All right. He comes down and tells us he's coaching.
Oh, sorry about it. That changes everything. Sorry about that, Charles. I jumped to a conclusion there.
You know what? I am going to put Junkyard Dog all on this and find out why we're not getting to go. He'll be grabbing them cakes, and another one bites the dust. I know why they didn't use another one bites the dust. I mean, what is it? But when they did the grab the cakes, it was a pretty good song for Junkyard Dog. It was a decent little song for him. I didn't get a notification of your show starting either. Yeah, we'll have to find out what's going on there. The AJ bit one of the elite. Kenny.
Well, the Ace Steel bit Kenny.
Well, there you go. I wonder if he had to go get some shots over all that. I'm talking about Ace.
No, for CM Punk, that's just a night. And then anyway, boy,
Christopher Hughes, and you can tell by how many UCF fights Punk. If the brawl was anything more than a Powerpuff game, I will take Harley Race over him or any of those. Harley Race would have beat them all, and they would have just all been laying down
and not broke a sweat.
No. Wrestlers are not what they used to be. Dick Murdoch, Dusty Rhodes, Harley Race, those guys were tough. The guys came from the 60s and 70s were tough. Not so much. Some of the guys came in the 80s. Maybe in that point in time, they might have come down a little bit. But when it really 50s, 60s, 70s, and the early part of the 80s, somewhat later on, because they changed the way guys was trained in probably around 86, I think 87. They started just showing them from the beginning. Hey, this is work. Here we go.
I firmly believe though that Paul Roma had to be a tough guy because you can't be that dumb and not be tough.
So true. I mean, yes, I see your point.
Hey, Mako said that they took Larry the dog out of the room.
Yeah, he came. From what I've gathered, he took the dog out of the room, came back in, and was trying to pull Ace Steel off of one of the Bucks, and Ace thought he was getting involved in the fight, so he took a chunk.
I will tell you that the Young Bucks should never be in any position of authority. They should be really putting the rings up because they're not that good of a wrestlers as well.
Well, if you take a look at them, they couldn't even carry a post.
I couldn't either, but I'm not saying I'm a professional wrestler either.
I'm talking about both of them on one. I'm not talking about them one each. There's a reason there's a tag team there.
Oh, I mean, these poor old guys are they believe they know the wrestling business and have no clue. Who will be first spin the mask? Who will be first spin the mask? I'm not for sure what he's talking about. Let's see. Hey guys, you should do a show with the all greatest heels of all time. Yes, we will do that.
That's a good idea.
Put them on waivers. from John Paul Louise. Gary Grant said, I find myself watching NWA over the other two programs these days.
There you go.
National Wrestling Alliance. Say, what's that guy's name that owns that National Wrestling Alliance?
Corin.
Billy Corrigan.
Here you go. Official NWA. Right there. I could be special. I could be a special guest referee brought in by the National Wrestling Alliance. Bob Geigel did a lot there. If you'll notice, during the Bob Geigel deal, he'd always send an interview to tell him. So Ronnie West is coming in. He's going to be the special guest enforcer referee, and that was always done to make sure the rules were done. So guess what? So the bad guys could break them, and they get heat. You know, they would follow the rules. And then when that guy, that heel, didn't follow the rules and won the match, guess what? People were mad. That's the way to get heat. I find myself watching, we already said that. Hello, a gentleman from Robert Grice, Dr. Philbo Grice. AEW is going under WakeCon is going. It hasn't been good since Cody Rhodes left. I think Cody knew. I mean, honestly, he knew. Glenn Shelton.
I wonder what phone conversation or what conversation he came to the conclusion everybody else did. This guy's an idiot.
You know, I think Jim Cornette knew I think he knew Tony Khan was an idiot before Tony Khan knew he was an idiot.
Well, normally the idiot's the last one to know that they're an idiot.
Because he said he talked with him, and he said he knew he was who he was going to be with, who he was going to be put in positions wasn't going to be good. Glenn Shelton's right. If you do not put people in seats, and Kenny Omega and Young Bucks can't, you have to make the decision. Those guys have to go, but CM Punk can. I'm not a CM Punk fan. Never have been a CM Punk fan. But the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. And does he not draw the people? Yes, he did. He drew the people, and he did big numbers. I mean, some pretty good numbers for pay-per-view buys. So, fellas, quite a few of those guys on AEW will be back on the independent circuit.
Well, the younger wrestlers do feel ignored by Tony. That's what it says. He's very, very upset. They're upset about that.
He said, don't get me wrong, the Sucks are no better than Punk. They were all wrong. Well, now, I can't. If you come into my dressing room and I'll whip your tail, no matter what I said about you on the interview. I mean, back in the day, interviews were pretty stiff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they're pretty stiff. So you're going, because I said something on an interview, you want to come in here and actually come. This is a work.
Now, are you talking about the day that Dusty got on TBS and said that if you don't come down to pay for this pay-per-view, that he's going to come down your chimney and choke your children? Is that what you're talking about? And then Larry Zbyszko come out. Now Dusty Rhodes is a child abuser. He's choking children. Then Dusty gets all upset about it. Well, you're the one that said it. I didn't say it.
That's what he told him. And Dusty pretty tough. I don't know that I'd mess with Larry Zbyszko. I mean,
still, though, that was just silly. I mean, come on.
Yeah, it is silly to get mad over the things that happen. This is a work. And when you're doing it, don't get mad because somebody said something bad about you. Jim Cornette could have got killed in the dressing rooms for the stuff he said about people. I mean, it's an interview. It makes no sense. Quality wrestling back in the day was way better than yes.
You know, a classic example of that, and I got to see it again this week, was Wrestling 2 against Tully Blanchard from the Sam Houston Coliseum. If you haven't seen it, check it out. Tully makes the mistake of yanking 2's mask, and this was, and you would say, well, this was good for, that was show 2 would, go off, but it really showed what happens when you take and put 2 very talented people in the ring. And Tully was just awesome. The best part is when Tully fell backwards against the ropes and went down all 3, hit the top rope and went down all 3. It was beautifully done. Absolutely. I'm ready for the next match.
Robert Fuller, Ronnie West. This was probably 1974, I would think. I'm pretty sure it was 1974. And I believe that could actually be at the Atlanta City Auditorium.
That's what it looks like.
Atlanta City Auditorium, great place for wrestling. But I think this was 1974. I'm pretty sure it was. I think that was right before Ole took over as the booker at some point, because I think Ole fired Robert Fuller and Bob Armstrong, the tag team, for whatever reason. Good stuff right there. As you see, there's a complete difference. What did I do with this picture? As you see, there's a complete difference between 1965 Ronnie West and 1974 75.
Right. Dad,
I blame the buffets.
All right. That one. NWA patch too. Hey, I don't think he had a patch on that shirt. If he did, I don't see it there. Let's see. I bet Bobby Fulton would love to come on. I'd like to get Bobby on.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, I would like to get Bobby on. I always like Bobby. Let's see. He hit the like button. Why wouldn't you? Let's see. I'm not going to reply to Eddie Dale. Good evening. How are you? We're doing good. We're knocking Tony Khan a little bit tonight. So, but other than that, we're doing good.
I don't think it's
we're
knocking him,
but
telling the truth.
I do watch the show. I do watch it in hopes of it actually being good. I do watch the show.
One of these days you'll tune in and it actually will be.
That's the hope.
Donovan Harkins, eventually, if AEW keeps going to war with WWE, for all we know, they could end up like ECW and WCW and go out of business. I don't think you need to go against. You're not going to beat.
Well, what? I don't get the idea of why you would want to take them on anyway. That makes no sense. There is so many different directions you can go, but trying to go after or try to go after the same fan base is just it's outrageous to me. I don't get it.
I don't either. Let's see. Eric Crawford. Yes, it would be a good idea to have a masked ref. Charles Bellflower, the Armstrong Cooley story, one man and a cubby. Ooh,
True.
I didn't know what was going on. Hey, if you ever been in Morristown, Tennessee, at the Tally Ward building, that's some small dressing rooms too. If you ain't careful, you'll put the other guy's pants one leg on. And that thing was small, just enough for about 6 people. The other ones would just have to stay outside while the other guy was getting dressed. Those things were very small. Florence, Lauderdale Coliseum, if you wanted to take a restroom break, you had to do it. It was wide open. There was nothing covered the toilet. It was just open. So if you wanted to any privacy, you had to go out to the woods because there was no privacy in that dressing room. All right, Wendell didn't want any of Bob Armstrong, even with hospice in the room. The Georgia jawjacker. Yes, he would not have.
It's most people don't know that Bob played football. I mean, he must have had because I seen him punt a guy in the head one night. True story.
You did not want to mess with Bob. He was a nice guy, but if you made him mad, not good for you. Not good for you. Randy Christ. I was at a live event once where live event, I believe is what he said, once where a fan tried to fight the Iron Sheik. As an elementary school kid, it was awesome seeing Sheik whip the guy. Cons took a long read of WCW. Dan Hurd's tell-all book, The Ding Dong. Eric Crawford, 222. Wrestling 2. I'm gonna see. I think I got a photograph of wrestling. No, yeah, right there he is. Body. I think he's Rip Oliver. I believe he's body slamming there. Ain't that Rick Oliver? I believe that's Rick Oliver right there. I don't see because you know there's a number there, and we always tell Oh man,
Michael Barr.
Michael Barr.
He's here. He's having sound. Yeah, Michael Barr's here. He's just having sound issues, so he's going to
Well,
try to
Michael,
come back in.
don't call that number. That number is this was 1981. I don't think that number work anymore. So, all right, you can take me off the big picture there, Rodney. Daniel Lang. Billy Jack Haynes was notorious for dressing room fights. Barry Windham in Florida and Iron Mike Sharp in WWF. I believe he might have been a tough man too, Billy Jack Haynes. And if he's telling the truth, he did a lot of things outside of wrestling business. I don't think that you think that if he did those things, wouldn't they have arrested him by now?
I just firmly believe that he and Tony Khan are related.
Victor Nash, thank you so much. The great one arrives. 200 stars. Thank you so much, Victor Nash. We appreciate it. And maybe I won't have to sell my NWA patch. It'll go somewhere. Let's see. Monkeypox. Somebody's got the monkeypox. Hey, you think that might happen? Now, you know what? He might want to take care of that. He may have the monkeypox. Let's see. Heard all Omega was doing was trying to get the dog out of there. Well, at least he was looking after the dog. That poor woman.
We're not going to get the actual full story for a while because of the legal ramifications going on. But now their lawyer, as mentioned at the top of the show, she was in there. She saw what was going on. MJF was in there. He saw what was going on. They were not involved in the altercation.
And they didn't. He made sure the dog got out of there. But that poor woman that had to hobble out of there because she was on crutches, he just let her stay there.
And there's several of the producers that are suspended for the time being.
Yes, that's what I've heard.
I don't know. Pat Buck is one of them. He just started. He came from WWE.
Were any of you guys around when the Sting Slater dressing room incident happened? No, we were gone by then. Because that was Mid-South Wrestling, wasn't it? Dick Slater came in and booked. We were there for a time when Dick Slater was booking because Buzz Sawyer and Jim Duggan. Butch Reed, I don't think was there at the time. Maybe he was. I can't remember.
Yes, he was. He's there.
All right, but they did Buzz Sawyer and Jim Duggan did a program there and had some great matches, very good matches. Dick Slater was there with Dark Journey, and he came in and booked after the booking committee. But I don't think we were there during the Sting because I don't believe we were there when the Blade Runners came in. I just don't remember. We were there after they were gone, but just for a short time but I don't think Dick Slater was there at the time. I think Ken Mantell, wasn't Ken Mantell it was Ken Mantell was booking, wasn't the UWF. Great televisions, horrible arena shows. Just horrible.
Terrible.
Boring as they could be. Let's see. I agree, Young Bucks suck, which I wish a team like Road Warriors around to destroy them.
Pretty sure that would be an incident of you'd see guys going out the back door with their bags.
Yes. It was hard to watch Harley Race after he had the intestinal surgery. Whenever he got hit in that stomach with that long scar, it made me cringe. From Daniel Lane. Let's see, Christopher Hughes. Now, what do you think if that had happened on football field in the NFL or in the NBL field, etc.? It seems that wrestlers have always got away with things like this because people don't know what's part of the show and what's not. Y'all agree with that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I think they're right about that. Let's see. I went too far here. Wait a minute. Let me. Christopher Hughes. The Young Sucks tried to be the Hardys. The Young Sucks. Well, I think Jim Cornette calls them something else. We don't use that word on the television. But didn't have the talent to pull it off.
Now, I watched them in Japan, and they're a lot different. in the way that they wrestled over there than the way they wrestle here. But that was because New Japan had that thumb on them and told them what they had to do.
Yeah.
So, you see right now they're just doing whatever they want to do.
Sometimes sit back and think the cons read a little too much of WCW's Jim Herd tell all book about the Ding Dongs. Is he redoing things that he had saw during a certain time period in wrestling? Is that how he's booking it?
Maybe, and I don't know if we'll survive the Vince Russo era if he tries to recreate that.
I'm just wondering if he's just watching something because he had a dumpster match. Did he get that from when Terry Funk and it was Terry Funk as Chainsaw Charlie?
Yes, that's exactly where he got it from.
And so is he just watching stuff? So I won't do that again. That was good. I'm gonna do that again. Hey, you can't do that. That's just bad.
I saw Freddie Prinze Jr. He was a writer WWE for several years. He's working on starting his own promotion up out in California. Just from my understanding, it'll just be in California. He doesn't want to build some mega thing. But he talked about the ladder match that was on the All Out pay-per-view. As he said, it was terrible. He said, I hate ladder matches anyway because there's such a high chance of somebody getting hurt really bad. And that's my thing too. But that ladder match, I swear, that was one of the worst matches I have ever seen in my life.
Wow. Michael Barr said, I'm here, having sound troubles, be right back. Richard Hood. Guys, who would you say had one of the best vignettes in the business? I'm going to say Dusty Rhodes. Scott Hall, very, very good as well. I thought the Dusty Rhodes vignettes was good. Aren't you? Just tremendous.
That was all. Yeah, that was. I think those were the best.
Scott Hall, though, with his toothpick, he said, "What do you want me to do? You want me to use the toothpick?" That was
pick the food out of your teeth. Yeah. Of course, there's fantastic ones with the Sting, the mini movies. That was just good stuff right there.
Jack, what do you think? Vignettes?
Dusty, by far the best of anybody that I have ever seen. We all still talk about his interviews.
Yeah.
I think they got in trouble with the one about the horse, didn't they?
Yes, they did. He says in this thing, he says, doo-doo's good for you. Doo-doo's good for me. And they about lose sponsors over that.
USA had it. They showed it anyway. I think they showed it twice. So
good stuff, but it got Dusty. Dusty knew how to get over.
That was, first of all, we put something in the front of this right here. Then it moves down here, it churns down here, and then goes boop out the back end.
It was great. That was just great that he delivered pizzas. The common man. Is it, aren't you? Yes, the common man. It was just tremendously done.
Perfect example of a real professional taking a gimmick that was horrible and making it memorable.
Yep.
He didn't care. There was nothing that you could do to Dusty Rhodes that he couldn't overcome.
No, because he knew how.
Yep.
He knew how. Don Gardner was with us talking about Bobby Fulton, and we will get in touch. I have spoken with, but sometimes we are trying to work on something because a lot of times people try to come on here and their internet connection is so bad that we have a hard time keeping them on. I think the last guest, Gil Colton, we had a hard time keeping him on.
It's because we have found that you got to have that internet, but you also have to be on a laptop or computer. The phones just crap out after a little while.
Yeah, it just doesn't work. So we're trying to work on something else to be able to bring on guests because it just doesn't work that way. Well, I just got the notification. You're on. I was an hour late. So maybe. Well, Richard, I'm sure wasn't the one where they were looking for Stan Hansen. I didn't mind those though. Because what that Dutch Mantel, Black Bart, Rick Harris, and who was the other person? There was one other one.
It was oh shoot! It was the guy that was assassin was Detroit Demolition, Randy Colley.
If you hadn't seen it, Black Bart did an interview from his recliner the other day, talking about wanting to get booked on some of these signings and everything because he's about to go crazy being at home all the time. But he done it fully in character, and it was great.
Yeah,
I did not realize how much I had missed. Dadgum.
It was good. I actually liked it. I don't like a lot of stuff on Facebook, but I did like that one. It was good. Mr. Perfect was a good one as well. That was good. Do all the stuff. Did the Mr. The build up of Ted DiBiase was very good as well. They did it a little different, but the kicking the basketball out of the kids and just recently Ted DiBiase met up with the kid that he kicked the ball from. So and it's some fan fest, so that was good. Christopher Hughes, and that is no disrespect, Mr. Brower. He was one of my heroes. Yes. Mickey Mayfield said, Rodney, I just got my Facebook notification. Victor Nash, again, thank you for the stars, and he has arrived. The great one has arrived. If you want to be an extra on the Young Rock, I believe they're looking for extras. I don't know where you go to sign up for it, but I believe you could be an extra on that show. I was thinking maybe I need to go if they're going to pay me. I'll go down there and I'll be an extra. I don't care. I don't need no speaking parts. As we see, I don't speak well anyway, so I don't know if I need any speaking parts. Let's see. Christopher Daniels, was he involved with this as well?
Yes.
Was he punching anybody?
I don't believe he was punching. I think they were all in there trying to separate. What I can understand, there was only the 4 of them fighting, but the rest of them were in there trying to pull apart. And I think Tony just went in and, hey, if you were in any way involved, go home.
No. What if I got stuck in there at the back of that dressing room and I was just trying to make
that's the thing. Now, MJF and that lawyer were in the locker room, but they just backed off to a corner and observed it. That's the reason they didn't get in trouble over it.
Just let them fight it out. Let them fight. Somebody's going down. So just let them go down. Let's see. Now I have sound. Hello, Michael Barr. How you doing? Jason said Slater would have hurt Sting if he wanted to, for sure. Yes, all he did was knock him out and drag him over and put his head in the toilet, which that was his gimmick. I don't know why they didn't incorporate that in wrestling some form or fashion. And actually, let him knock the guy out, drag him all the way to the deal, and push his head in the toilet. He did it to people anyway.
God, I hope Tony Khan ain't watching this.
Hey, didn't Kevin Sullivan do that? Didn't he do that a little bit for a while in WCW? What about?
Yeah.
Brent, I have that ringside as well. You got this one with Dusty? American Dream? Tommy Wildfire Rich. That's before he said all that. Somebody say something about okay. Never. Brent, I have that ringsider as well with Dusty on the cover. Also have the ringsider Ric Flair winning his first world title. Same cover like the picture on your wall. Which side is that?
Right behind you. Right
there. I got a ton of those photographs because they were the publicity photographs that you were given for for newspapers, and I think they might have sent them to radio stations stuff, but I don't think they did. TV.
I need one of those. I got some pictures at another place of people I would never book.
I want that magazine that Jeb Brown has two body slamming Jack the two body slamming. Did I have a picture of somebody body slamming?
Yeah, you had the one of Wrestling 2 with Rick Oliver.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay. And I think Bruno Sammartino Jr. on that one as well. The old Bruno. I think this is before Les Thornton beat him up really bad.
David Sammartino.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. What,
I like David.
Didn't they call him that? It was Bruno Sammartino Jr. then, though.
He was for quite a while.
It looks like
Then he cut weight, and I think Bruno told him just go by his real name.
Is that Ken? That's Ken Timms, isn't it?
Ken Timms, yes.
Nick back in the back's looking at him saying, "Hey, I know you said that about Les. You're working against him tomorrow on television. I'm afraid you may get hurt." I think that's the look he's giving. Look at the look Nick Patrick's giving. That man, look at this. Look at the look he's giving here.
Well, we can't see him. You have to go down. Who is it? Who's he looking at? Maybe he just had a bet. Maybe that we're thinking that he looks mad. Maybe that's just the way he looks.
It looked excited. Steve-O. And what was that guy's name? Sonata? Professor Sonata?
Yeah.
All right. Well, hey, y'all don't want this program. It just came apart.
You need to be careful with the programs, Brent. Be careful with the programs.
Let's see. Hello, Jack. Brent Rodney from Michael Barr. Let's see. Nope, I can't use that word. My wife will make me put money in the cuss word.
He was calling the young sucks.
Yes. Daniel Lang said the time the Iron Sheik beat up the guy who beat him in the Persian Club Challenge. Nobody stepped in because they thought it was just part of the show. Yes. Really, they should have fired him for doing that. Jeez Louise. Let's see. Nothing really great on TV anymore. Find myself watching old wrestling and checking out local shows from Mike Schaefer. Jason Bells. Tony has more money than the Crockett's, but his booking pen doesn't write as well.
That's true.
Oh, man. Hey, let's see. Michael Barr. I have seen some bad matches in the arenas when they were better at a television station. Yeah, they have. I've seen some bad matches in my time. Hello, gentlemen. How's everyone in this evening? We're doing good. Let's see. Christopher Hughes. When Dusty and Blackjack Mulligan shot at J.J. Dillon and he went running into the woods, Dusty said, "Give it a couple hours and he will send Nelson Royal to haul him out." There was fun times on the road. There were fun times on the road back in those days. That's what made the wrestling business fun. It was the road trips. That's what made wrestling fun. Is the road trips. Now, not all the time on the way there. It wasn't too fun. But on the way back, that was when you had the most fun. Dusty made $500,000 in polka dots. That's Richard had said. Happy birthday to Jerry Stubbs. Jerry Stubbs' birthday today. I think Jerry Stubbs' birthday is the same day my birthday is, right? So I'm thinking he told me that one time. And my birthday as well. I'm 22. Donnie Hester. Any vignettes with ZZ Top's Sharp Dressed Man as the background music was an instant classic. Fantastics, Bobby Fulton, Tommy Rogers. They had a great. The ZZ Top showed up in Houston, Texas. Told them, they said, "Boy, we love that. That was so great. The videos are so good. We watched them all." They said that on a Friday. On Monday morning, they got a telephone call telling them they can't use the music no more. Remember that, Rod?
I sure do. It wasn't them, but I think they got it worked out.
Yeah,
I think they got it worked out because I think they gave them the numbers and they contacted the guys at ZZ Top and hey, they're trying to take it away from us.
Let's see. Christopher Hughes. I thought it was Bobby Duncan Jr. Your memory is good, Rodney. Risa, how you doing? Is that how you say her name, Arisa?
Arisa.
She is one of our subscribers. Thank you so much. She said, "I finally made it." Let's see. Better late. Well, now I'm not for sure. If you are Cowboy Bill Watts, you would not be able to use that. Now, Michael Hayes always said, if you're going to be late, don't be 5 minutes late. He said, be an hour late. If you're going to be late, just might as well be late because they'll just be happy to see you when you walk in the building and you won't be in trouble. At that point, you won't be in trouble. It'll be the next day before you. Well, there is some truth into that, though. Better late than never. Been a crazy day. We've all had those. Christopher Hughes, I am looking forward to the Rock's Tales from the Territories on Vice.
Yeah, me too.
Donovan, he's going to have to. He wasn't really in the territories, so he's going to tell a little story. I guess maybe he's talked to some people in the territories. What's that say? Michael
Nakazawa and Brandon Cutler were also suspended.
Man, how big was this dressing room? Because usually they're small. They couldn't have threw no punches. There was too many people in the room.
Apparently, we were the only ones that weren't in there.
Man, Jack Lower, did you wrestle Terry Gordy in his last match?
No, I did not.
Donnie Hester, Dusty Rhodes was living on the edge of the lightning bolt before you fell on hard times. Great interview. Live up to even today. Heard a story about Hercules slapping a fan. They went in and wrestled and came back. He was still laying there. Yes. Bobby Eaton said, you could have killed him, Ray. He said, I know. That's why I only slapped him. That is a true story. They would step over the guy because they didn't have time at the point. They had to go through what they needed to do, and they would step over him. This was in Mid-South Wrestling. That happened in New Orleans, Louisiana, I believe. New Orleans, if you were downtown New Orleans, you always had a rough crowd, a very rough crowd. And actually, the guy jumped over the railing, and Herc slapped him, and he went down, and they just kept on stepping over him to do what they needed to do. Then they brought the police out there and picked him up. Herc was not a guy you wanted to mess with. He's another one of them guys you did not want to mess with. He beat Edgar Boot Thomas up one time. They pulled over the car, and he kept on. Now, Herc did say this. He said, I'm going to tell you something. I have to give him one thing. He was one tough man because look at my hands. They were all messed up. I hit him so hard as I could hit him. And he said, it's like hitting a tree. He said he was tough because his hands was all messed up for at least a week. He said, I won't be able to hit nobody, throw no punches. I ain't even going to be able to grab nobody for a while. I regret throwing all the wrestling programs out. The Mako, we regret it too because you could send them to us and we could have used them. You had them from 79 to 90 and threw them all out? Man. Cannot do much with legs, but I can upper body. Just trying to stay in shape. Ken Tim's a great wrestler. Yes, he was. Just don't let him do Chief Walton McDaniels. He could get in trouble for that, to the Chief Walton McDaniel, especially when he wasn't supposed to. That's when you would get fired. Back in the days. That's back when the days, some wrestlers said they could do what they want to do. No, they couldn't. If you did the comeback and did the Chief Walton McDaniel comeback, you would get fired. They just look at you and say, okay, that's it. Steve-O just didn't fit in Georgia, but he was there a long time. Go back and look how long Steve-O was in Georgia. Didn't he get there in 1981? And then he stayed till 1983?
For a long time, yeah.
And there for a while, he worked in the office.
Sure did.
So, let's see, Michael Barr. Brent, if you don't like the programs, by all means, do not
rip them.
Well, I didn't mean to rip them. They are very old. 1981. They're very, very old, about like me. Ruined my bad. Happy birthday. Thank you so much. I appreciate the birthday deal. 22 years old. 22 years old. Very young. Very all I want to do is sleep today. So maybe turning 52 is not good for me. Maybe I was on Cornette's birthday was hilarious. Birthday party was hilarious.
Parties.
Yeah. He'll get mad at people for wrestling these days. But he did about 22 parties and did the same thing in every one of them. But, the wrestling business is bad today. I don't know, Jimmy. How about when they told you to do another birthday party? Said, no, we just did that. Paul Heyman birthday. Paul Heyman's birthday today, too. Let's see. Don't feel bad. I was late as well. Michael Barr said to tell you still get fined for that. We can't just let it go. Happy birthday. Wish you the very best. Thank you so much. Let's see. Something tells me Michael Hayes knew about being late. Yes, he did. Yes, he did. And that was another guy. If you booked him, you knew what you were getting with Michael Hayes. He let you know what he thought, and he just didn't care. But what did he do? He put butts in seats, so you kind of overlooked what he did. You were probably the only people watching a two jack from Christopher Hughes. Happy birthday, Jerry Stubbs. I want to have to give Jerry a happy birthday as well. Let's see. Happy birthday, Brent. Happy birthday, Mr. Olympia from Christopher Hughes. Every month, without fail, at least 4 per month. Often more. I'm not for sure what he's talking about. Patricia Billy Brooks. Happy birthday. Cornette is a closet. What does he say? Magna?
MAGA.
What's that mean? I'm not for sure.
Make America great again.
Oh. Party hard and training in wrestling does not mix. We will agree with that. Okay, guys, we're going to have to get off here. We've been on here a little long tonight. But, Jack, anything we need to talk to the wrestling fans before we leave?
Well, we do. I do want to point out the technical difficulties that WWE had on SmackDown. I think it was a week or so ago. And then last night, they had technical difficulties again. And I would like to point out to everyone that Kevin Dunn is in charge of that.
A couple of things didn't come in. I think it may have just came in now. Thoughts on John Kazana's promotion? I didn't think it was bad. It's been knocked by Ron Fuller, but evidently he didn't. They drew money, so in the end they drew money. So that's all that really matters. If you make money, you draw money. There's nothing. There's it's. They might have done some stuff they shouldn't have been doing, but evidently he wasn't. Ron Fuller wasn't in Mobile, Alabama when he didn't show up. Bob Armstrong didn't show up, and Ric Flair didn't show up. I guess that was great for business. Let's see. Richard Hood. I bet Bill Watts used to find Michael Hayes constantly. Yes. Not as much as Buddy Landell. Buddy Landell bought the Bill Watts a house. He got fined so much. Cedric Peterson. Hello, everyone. Hello to you. And David Lawson said Joe Kazana. I enjoyed seeing the stuff that was on there. Ron Wright stuff I thought was great. And the stuff that they knock on, what they don't understand is when Ron Wright was on there and he was on there for the whole show, it was snowed so bad the only people that
I think we've misunderstood. I think he means Joey Kazana, not John Kazana.
Oh, Joe Kazana. No, that stuff's crap. I don't know if that he is really and truly. I don't know. Have y'all watched it? Because
I have not. I have not watched it. But John Kazana, he was a promoter in Knoxville for years. I'm talking years. He had to be doing something right.
Yeah.
And as always, whoever comes in always knocks the ones before. I don't get it. I don't get it.
They also same people knocked the Fields, and look at the money they made.
Yeah, the Fields just were dominant for
many
years. Yeah,
that was really bad. All right, guys. Anything we need to talk about before we leave?
Yes, we do. I cannot go without saying Pat McAfee has moved on to ESPN and been replaced by the acting director Corey Graves on the show. Everybody was excited. It was riveting to see him on there. Brand new direction for our friends at WWE. I'm sure this is what we're going to be seeing. The stellar writing from Triple H, which begins to think that maybe he might not be as a genius as anybody sees when we have a stalker in the Miz and Miz's house. That was riveting television as well. Keep it up. That's going to really bring in the ratings there, Triple. And last but not least, Dominic was complete disappointment. The man needs to get in touch with Jack to get his tights fixed. He was having a problem with his gut, keeps pushing down his tights. It was a disaster. We would call it an abortion, but we're not allowed to say that word on the program.
Hey, I don't watch the shows on a regular basis, so I didn't know they was doing stupid crap like that. So
they're doing it. Yeah, that was. I kept thinking, oh, great one, Triple H changing the world. Yes, and now we have a stalker in somebody's house. I mean, his house is well lit, don't you think, Jack? Did you not think his house was so well lit? It was stupid. It's stupid. Triple H, that's stupid. Excuse me, let me say it one more time. You're stupid for putting that on the show. And Dominic needs to learn something. He needs to have a finish or something. That was awful. That was just terrible. Nobody would want to see that again, I assure you. It's terrible. Just terrible.
All right, Jack, anything anything to say after that, Rodney?
I like the stalker. Just kidding.
I'm fine with what they were doing in the arena, but then going to the person's house is just outrageous. It's
When
just
are they
so
going
stupid.
to get to the point to quit doing that? When are they going to learn that nobody gives a crap about that stuff?
I've got a great idea. Let's try to take it. We've got Mitts and Misses. We got that other show, and it's doing pretty good in the ratings. Let's do a little something there where they have security and got some really great security cameras and
Well,
stuff
that's-
there. Stupid.
That's a rehash thing, though, because they've done the deal with who was it, Stone Cold and Brian Pillman,
Yeah.
at the house, and then they did Randy Orton and was it Triple H?
It was Edge. I think he was in Edge's house, wasn't he?
Now they did that with Edge and
Rollins.
Rollins.
That's right.
Here last year. So
Yeah, it's just, and I'm telling you, it's riveting.
Hey, Triple H, get you some new riders if that's all they're going to ride for you.
It was just dumb. It's just dumb.
I will tell you, I don't watch WWE program. I watch the clips on YouTube because if I don't like it, I just turn it off. There's great television today. Triple H, Tony Khan, great television, great shows on television right now. If you go to Netflix, Hulu, great shows. And if you don't do something that's unique and you don't do something that entices people, they're going to go watch something else because there's some great television. If you've not seen the new Star Trek, you're missing something. I'd rather watch that any day than watch a WWE programming because of the quality storytelling. And even the police doesn't like it.
Well, I can tell you, Brent, you would have loved, since you missed it, you might want to look up the Mids and Misses at the house as they went out and got in the car, and then somebody's messing around with their stuff. I would have had him cleaning the windows or maybe mowing the yard. But anyway, that's just me.
I'm not going to be watching that later on tonight. I'm actually going to go watch the show, and I don't really know what the name of it is, but they were in an airplane. They thought it went down. They came back 4 years later, and pretty good riveting show. I think I'll pass on watch that, and I'll go watch that when I get off.
Well, check out then just for a little. Check out Dominic and the wrestling is on tights. It was exciting to watch.
And I'll look through my old programs.
I'm gonna start a GoFundMe just to get him a gym membership.
He was that I had high hopes for him because he does need to break away from Daddy, but that's not going to do it for him. That'll get him a first class ticket to AEW.
He'll get good money. So remember that. Manifest is the program, Brent. Manifest?
There you go.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
Yes. Good show. If you're not watching, I watched maybe 6 episodes of it. Tremendous. Just tremendous. That's what I'm saying. Produce good wrestling, or people won't watch it because they got so much other stuff they can watch today. They don't have to watch your crap. They can watch somebody else's crap. Thank y'all so much for being a part of Pro Wrestling Inside and Out. We certainly do appreciate it. We're at a little over 45,500 followers on our Facebook page. We certainly appreciate it. Also, every week now we grow 40 to 50 people on our YouTube channel. And we certainly do appreciate that. And now it's just word of mouth. We've not spent any money on advertising this. The people just every week we pick them up, and we certainly do appreciate it. It's because you're sharing our stuff, our posts and our videos with those people. Thank you so much. We certainly do appreciate it.
And as we heard last week, we can't make everyone happy, but we can block you from the show.
True. We can't do that.
Thank y'all so much, and we'll see everybody next week right here on Pro Wrestling Inside Now. Hey, we'll look at this right here. We'll talk about this card right here that happened in
Oh,
Chattanooga.
wait a minute. Let me zoom in here. Let me zoom in there, cameraman.
Talk a little bit about this card right here. As we see, the main event, Terry Gordy and Pretty Boy Hayes against the Mexican Angel and Jerry the King Lawler. We'll talk about this card. We were there for this card, and we'll talk about that next week. Nick Goulas, promoter. All right.
Tony
Thank
Khan wished he was Nick Goulas.
He probably don't even know who Nick Goulas is. Thank y'all so much. We certainly do appreciate it. We'll see everybody next week right here on Pro Wrestling Inside Now.